want to talk about my keys to the season that the Ravens need and able to have a successful year. Now, this is one of the best rosters in the whole entire AFC. You got Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You have a really good offensive line. You have a really good supporting cast around Lamar Jackson in the passing game. Zay Flowers, OBJ, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. The list goes on. You got Todd Monken as your OC. And you're going to have a really good defense this year. The Ravens had one of the best defenses in the NFL in 2022. So I'm going to be telling you guys what the Ravens need to do this season in 2023 to have a successful year. Now, first we have to ask ourselves, what is a successful season for the Baltimore Ravens? Well, I think given the fact that the Ravens went to the playoffs last year without having Lamar Jackson for most of the year and almost beating the Cincinnati Bengals with my boy Snoop, the expectations this year with finally having an OC that's going to elevate the passing game and giving Lamar Jackson the best supporting cast that the Ravens have ever given a quarterback in years, the expectation should be Super Bowl. When Lamar Jackson is healthy, the Ravens win 70% of their games and they normally are in the conversation for having the #1 seed in the AFC. And now that Lamar has these weapons in the passing game, Ravens fans can't say, oh, Lamar needs more help. So if the Ravens are going to have a successful year, I think it's going to be dependent on the fact that if Lamar can stay healthy, this is a team that should be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So if the Ravens don't at least make it to a divisional round game, I think this would be a massive disappointment. This should be a team that should be amongst the best in the AFC, and they should be in contention for the #1 overall seed. You look at this defense. This was a defense that played at a top 5 level during the second half of last year. They got a very good secondary. You got a really good safety duo in Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. So this defense is great. This offense should be really good. Lamar needs to stay healthy for the Ravens to be able to have a shot at being able to make it to the conference championship game or even being able to be contenders. If the Ravens are going to give Lamar Jackson all this money, he needs to be able to stay healthy. Every time the season goes left for Baltimore, it's mainly due to the fact that Lamar Jackson gets injured. So if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, this team is going to be amongst the best in the AFC this year. The next thing they need is improvement from the passing game, which we already touched on a little bit earlier with the additions of OBJ and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was my #1 ranked wide receiver coming out of this past year's draft class. He's dynamic after the catch. Even though he's a little bit undersized, he's 5'9", 180 something pounds. He can play both in the slot and outside. He has really good hands. Like, I think Zay Flowers is going to go off this year. I think he's going to be the best rookie wide receiver. OBJ is not washed up, people. If he never got injured in that Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals, he probably would have won MVP in that game. So you got OBJ, Zay Flowers, who you pair up with Rashad Bateman, who has shown flashes. And now you add that with the fact that you have Todd Monken, somebody who is really creative with his offenses, somebody that really knows how to be balanced in his play calling. He wasn't just a college coordinator, people. He also, Baltimore Ravens, nearly one of the deadliest teams in the NFL. You know that they're still going to be really good running the football, man. Like, the Ravens have always been a team that has always been good at running the ball. So now you give the fact that they're going to have a legitimate passing attack now. You have to be able to throw the football if you want to win in today's NFL. It's a passing league, and if you can't do that at a high level, you're not going to go far. The Ravens should be able to do that now. Lamar Jackson isn't just a running back, people. I know the running back jokes are funny, but I'm trying to tell you guys, they expired. Lamar Jackson is a way better passer than what people give him credit for. So the next thing that the Ravens need in order to have a successful season is on the defense side of football, and they need their young pass rushers to step up. They lost Calais Campbell, and they didn't bring back Justin Houston, so they're going to need some of those young guys to step up, such as Odafe Owe, who was a first-round pick in 2021 out of Penn State. He's shown flashes his rookie season. Didn't really see him have those same flashes last season. They need this man to have a really big season. And he could end up being a breakout player for the Baltimore Ravens. We also have to talk about David Ojabo. Now, David Ojabo, he was a second-round pick in 2022 by Baltimore, but he had an injury that caused him to fall out of the first round. Prior to that injury, he was expected to be a top 15 selection. He was one of the best pass rushers in that draft class when healthy. So the Ravens are going to need either David Ojabo or Odafe Oweh to step up, and the sleeper is defensive tackle Travis Jones. Now, there was a lot of Travis Jones hype going into last year, and I'm trying to figure out where has that hype went. Because, I mean, like, of course he wasn't going to have the massive season that some people were expecting. Because, I mean, the Ravens had so much depth and veteran leadership in front of him. Of course, he wasn't going to get a lot of playing time. But I don't really hear too much about the Travis Jones hype train anymore. Like, I still think that Travis Jones can end up being a really good defensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. So they're going to need Travis Jones, Odafe Oweh, and David Ojabo to come up big for them when it comes to being able to get after the quarterback this season. And lastly, the Baltimore Ravens need to be better in late game situations. You know, there were games last year that I felt like the Ravens had a chance to win, but they weren't great in those late game situations. Sometimes they would be a little bit overly regressive. Sometimes the play calling wouldn't be the best. They have to come up bigger in big spots this year if they want to be able to have a chance at competing for the Super Bowl this year. But these are my keys to the season for the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know what you guys think about them down in the comment section down below. What are some things that you think the Ravens need to do well in order to have a shot at winning the Super Bowl this year and living up to expectations?